Welcome back. A few weeks ago, I did a video on one of my favorite methods of composting, a way to stretch fertility across a large area, a way to replace fertilizer in case there's a fertilizer shortage or just for fun and profit. In the comment section of that video, I got a lot of questions. And I was thinking about all these questions and thinking, wow, I should have answered this in the video, and I should have answered this in the video, and I should have answered this in the video. So today I am taking all those questions and answering them in one amazing video.
Does it smell bad?
Yes.
Like really bad?
It's incredibly bad. Though it actually gets better after it brews for a quite long period of time. I have a batch that I threw a bunch of eggs in, and for some reason it smells kind of like soy sauce. I would almost eat it, but probably not.
Are you supposed to dilute it, or do you just use it straight?
In Korean natural farming, they often dilute swamp water down to even very tiny amounts, like 1/100th. Generally, I will use it straight on really hungry crops like bananas and corn, and that's assuming I didn't make a really strong batch to begin with. If I threw a bunch of chicken manure in the bottom, I would dilute it first just to make sure I don't burn, and then if I don't see much in the way of results, go higher. So you might go 10-to-1 to begin with if you're testing it. And if you have container crops, you wanted to feed a plant that was in a pot, I would be careful. Don't give it too much. You don't want to flood it because those roots can't escape. They don't have a bunch of ground around them. You're just going to flood the root zone with it. And if it's too strong, or if it has some alcohols in it or something that might cause a problem, it's better to try it on a light dilution first. So I would recommend just trying it 10-to-1 or so to begin with, or even less depending on what you put into it. If you just put weeds in the barrel, it's probably not going to be super strong compared to if you put something really hot in it, like a manure.
Can I put pizza in my swamp water?
I don't see why not. I think the carbohydrates would feed the bacteria just fine, and they'd break it down into whatever's in it.
So when you get to the bottom of the barrel, do you top it off, or do you throw it out like your ex and start your life over again?
Sometimes I'll just top it off. Sometimes I'll put a little more materials in it. Sometimes I'll just pour more water on top of it and let it sit for a few more days or a few more weeks and then use that. But when I get tired of looking at it, or I think, you know, I want to start over from scratch, or maybe it's just got too many bugs in it now and I'm ready to be done, like I didn't get it covered and mosquitoes have moved into it, I'll often just dump all the sludge out of it right into one of my regular compost piles. Sometimes I just scrape it out and I use it for mulch around a fruit tree. There's not usually a ton of stuff in the bottom. There's just enough that you can kind of spread it out around a root zone. Not so much that I think it would kill it.
Can I put a dead armadillo in my swamp water?
I don't think I'd do that, even though there's a lot of nutrients in an armadillo.
Can I put cheese fries in it?
I'm not sure that there's anything in that would be...
Can I stick a Reuben sandwich in there? Don't you know that the most dangerous creature by deaths per people is mosquitoes? How do you deal with that? This is just like gonna breed mosquitoes all over the place.
I like to have barrels that have tops on them, and if I don't have tops for the barrels, I will cover them with some screening and just put a bungee cord around the screening to keep the mosquitoes out. Invariably, however, I'm out watering, and at some point mosquitoes will zoom in and say, this is our chance to reproduce and lay eggs. And if I start to get the little larvae swimming around in it, I mean, it's very obvious that the mosquitoes have been there. I just pour them out on the garden because mosquito larvae are made out of protein.
So how long do you wait before you use this stuff?
If I need to feed quickly, I'll wait about 2 weeks for stuff to start looking like it's really rotted down. If I just had some compost or something and I wanted to stir the compost through it, I could pretty much use it right away. But with weedy materials and other things that I want to rot, I want it to go a couple of weeks first. But the Koreans will say that a few months is probably better than a few weeks, and even a year might even be better. But I've got batches brewing all the time, so usually it's only when I've just established a garden or just thought, oh man, I really got to feed this whole area pretty quickly here, that I'll use it in 2 weeks.
So let's say hypothetically I actually brewed this garbage. What would I do with the rotten debris at the bottom of the barrel?
Just spread it as mulch, put it in your compost pile, don't worry about it. throw it someplace where it's going to feed something else.
Oh, help! My swamp water has mold on it. Do I throw it out?
There are many, many different microorganisms that will move into swamp water, mold being one of them. That's just fungi blooming on the top. I don't worry about it. I just stir it in and I use it.
I brewed this stuff and it's old. I mean, it's older than Granny's third set of teeth. Can I still use it? Can that dog still hunt?
You can definitely still use it. We're doing this for the minerals. It's not necessarily the microorganisms that we're that concerned with. It's what were the minerals that were in the original materials. They're pretty much still in there. You will lose some to off-gassing over time, but I don't have any problem using it if it's months old or even a year or more old. It just sits there and waits for you to spread those minerals around. Just stir it up and spread it on down.
Isn't anaerobic bacteria supposed to be super dangerous and bad?
Every bacteria is beautiful in its own way. You just don't want to eat some of them.
What about weed seeds? Won't this literally cover my entire yard with weed seeds?
Some weed seeds will go through, many of them do not. I try not to put really weedy material in it to begin with. I don't see any reason to do that. There's no need to. You just pick a bunch of stuff that doesn't have weeds. If you've got weedy stuff, go throw it in your chicken run or go throw it out in the woods or put it in your grass where it doesn't really matter. But I don't want to deliberately spread weed seeds around the garden, so if it's weedy, I often just skip it. I'm not super concerned about spreading a few weeds around. If I happen to miss the head of some grass or some sedge or something that has a few weed seeds in it, I don't really care. I figure most of that's going to break down. But some weed seeds are really good at persisting. So if you're concerned, if you've got some really obnoxious weed, just don't throw the seed heads in it. It's not like the leaves are going to just somehow regenerate. Once all that stuff rots down, it rots down. But some of those seeds have mechanisms that preserve them through all kinds of calamity, possibly including your swamp water.
Can I put poisonous plants in it?
Some toxins break down, some don't.
Like oleander? Or poisonous sumac? Or poison ivy?
I don't know.
Or belladonna?
Most of those poisonous plants are probably...
Or like the stuff they poisoned that broad with in that movie?
What movie?
Can I put poisonous mushrooms in it? Seriously, does this stuff smell so bad my neighbors are gonna die?
They'll only wish they were dead.
What do you even put this on? I mean, you wouldn't put it on your salad greens.
I don't put this stuff on anything that I plan to eat right away. I use this to establish plants, to feed plants that have fruit above the ground, like say peppers or tomatoes or corn. I will use it to feed melons or squashes, but I'm not gonna pour it down a salad bed and then go out the next day and pick it and eat it. Generally, UV and exposure to oxygen are going to get rid of a lot of your bacteria, but I don't see any reason to mess around with something that, you know, could give you some sort of horrible stomach upset or turn you into a zombie. This shirt was designed by my friend Weatherly. Good gardeners use David the Good's patented Fetid swamp water for ills of man or garden, etc. I love this shirt. You can get it. I will put a link to this below. It's a family company in Alabama, and it's just amazing. And you totally have to have this shirt.
Why wouldn't you just use compost?
Often there's not enough compost to cover a very large area. What you're doing with this is you're spreading fertility across a large area by fertigating. That is, by irrigating or giving a little bit of water that has a nutrient solution in it. Whereas if I had this much compost, right? Let's say it's a 5-gallon bucket's worth of compost. I might be able to treat one 4x8 bed with enough compost to make everything happy through a season. However, if I have 10 beds or 20 beds or a 1/4 acre garden like I often have, that amount of compost barely touches it, and you want to give it plenty. If you're going to put compost in, it's great to put plenty in. So I tend to grow cover crops to produce the extra humus in the soil and chop and drop and mulch if I can, but making gigantic piles of compost is difficult for covering the entire area. So when you have swamp water, you could take a small amount of fertile materials, put it in a liquid solution, and then spread it way further than if you just made compost. This doesn't mean you necessarily replace your compost making with it, because there's nothing like that stable humus from a compost pile, but for feeding purposes, I like the swamp water because I can go really far with it. This is just one method of replacing fertilizer. It's a very useful method to have in your toolkit, but some of it is more art than science because it's very hard to test how strong it is, what minerals are in it, etc., without sending it off to a laboratory. So your answers are coming from, I diluted it this amount, this batch, and the plants really greened up, or I diluted it this amount and the plants did not green up, or I put it on straight and this plant dies. You kind of get a feel for it over time and you realize how it works and what doesn't work, and you get used to using it, and it's just hard to gauge sometimes. If I was going to throw a whole bunch of grass in one batch, grass at different times of the year has different amounts of nitrogen in it and different amounts of carbon in it. It changes through the seasons. You may have a hot lot of chicken manure that goes in at one time. You might have a bunch of fruit that goes in at another time. You might have all kinds of different things going into it. So trying to gauge exactly what is going on is difficult. So you dilute it first and you do some tests and see how it works. Generally, you know, if it's just a bunch of grass, you know, I could go and feed it all to my corn, but if it gets really hot, don't know for sure. You've got to be careful with it.
Thanks, Dave. Where can I learn more about this? They say that we're going to have food and fertilizer shortages, and we don't want to die. We need food so we don't die. Isn't that right? I know. We have to have food security. It's very important. Oh, help us, Dave.
There are a lot of different ways that you could feed your garden, from ashes to a bunch of different compost processes. There are methods of digging and burying and planting on top, or making fish emulsion, or even composting human waste. There are so many different methods that have been used to feed plants over time. This is one for your toolkit, and it's one of the ones that I like and I discuss in my book, Compost Everything, The Good Guide to Extreme Composting. So if you're interested in alternatives to fertilizer, you're not sure that you can make enough to feed your plants, you have experimented with compost in the past and found it to be a pain in the neck with all the ratios, or turning it in a tumbler, or just fighting with it and saying, oh, it's stinky, or animals get into it, or whatever, this book is for you. Compost Everything, The Good Guide to Extreme Composting takes a complicated topic and makes it immediately applicable to your backyard with the most simplicity that I could put into it for a complicated topic. And I think you'll enjoy it. It mostly boils down to just throw it on the ground. So if you don't have the money for the book, just throw stuff on the ground. But I'd appreciate it if you check the book out. I think you'll find it quite useful and encouraging if you've struggled with composting and feeding your garden in the past. Thanks for watching. Catch you all next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.
Try chasing twilight with too high beams. Is this real, or are you a dream? Mist and confusion, a buzz in my ear. Darker than midnight, nothing to fear. We're gonna make it, my fingers are crossed. I can't live without you, my compass is lost.
Thanks, Dave. Where can I learn more about how to feed ourselves during this really troubling time of food shortages and fertilizer shortages? Can I put pizza in my swamp water? Can I put poisonous plants in it? Like oleander and poison ivy or sumac? Ow.